I'm YouTube in an intro. Well, hello, YouTube. Welcome to our very first episode of Teacher's Lounge. You have myself, Gorilla Todd, from Gorilla Todd Comics, also called the Toddfather on the Midnight Market with Metaphorical Comics on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And my co-host for this show is none other than your friend and mine, my brother from another mother, Comics on the Mind, aka Mynd Shift, or Mind Shift, aka Comics on the Mind. Either way you want to change it. Kurt, you gotta unmute.
Oh yeah, no, I was just
Awesome. Welcome.
yeah, what's up? Hello everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Happy pre-Friday. How's your day going? How was your day today?
My day was pretty good today. Busy. I had a little bit of a hang up with my back the other day, so I fell a little behind in my packing. So I've gotten a good dent into it. I got to finish tomorrow. I got some more packages.
Yeah.
To the post office, but I made a good dent, so that was good. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good day actually. I opened the mail yesterday. I got a letter from my school. They sent us, a gift card for a local bookstore.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah, and then it was really nice sentiment. It was basically like go. We had last year we had this summer project where we had read a book, and then we came back to school and talked about it. So they said, hey, reading is such a nice thing. Go out, go out and get a novel or maybe a book that'll help you. You need to get something that's gonna classroom related or a novel that you just want to read. So I picked up The Lord Rondondo, a Western by Elmore Leonard.
Nice.
He wrote some of his stories were made in the movies.
Really?
Get Shorty and there's another one. Jackie Brown, the Quentin Tarantino movie, that was based on it.
Nice. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
And then I also picked up the first Monsters trade. So I started reading.
Nice.
They had a decent little trade, like graphic novel section. So
yeah.
So I did that in the morning. I had to get out of the house for a little while because man had something going on, and basically came back, packed, went to the post office, went by the first local comic shop that I'm doing a store tour video with, and did some preliminary shots, just kind of getting used to my equipment and stuff like that.
Pretty cool.
It'll probably be a minute before I'm able to drop that video, maybe a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, but we'll see. That'll probably be my first edited video since I've been back.
Nice. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. So I was thinking first we'd kind of maybe talk a few moments about this idea of the Teacher's Lounge, and I'm glad to see Jeff Schultz. You're in the chat because really I have to give Jeff due credit. He was the first person to my knowledge that suggested, hey, how about a show called Teacher's Lounge? So, first episode, Jeff, you're getting your shout out because it was your kernel of an idea. Okay, so all I did was take your idea and run with it. Because every intelligent person knows when they see a good idea.
We need to get Jeff on here next time.
Yeah, he and that's up to him. He's always welcome. Hey, William Smallwood, how are you doing, sir? Good to see you in the chat.
What's up, William?
So a lot of people know, but maybe some of you don't know. I'm an educator by profession. Kirk, you want to tell them?
Oh yeah, I've been doing after school for how many years? Almost 10 years now. I worked with third graders last year. Now I'm following them into the fourth grade. I also work at the school as well as a STIP instructor, which is helping kids with with reading comprehension, sounds, all that good stuff. So I've been working with kids for a long time. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been teaching over 10 years myself. I'm a science teacher, and I love it. But there's no secret. There's a lot of us in the YouTube community, in the comic YouTube
yeah, I
community,
agree.
going to be in the field of education in one way or another. And it's maybe as we talk about this, we're gonna I'm gonna guess we're gonna uncover there's some it's not by random chance that perhaps there is some correlation between loving reading comics and choosing to be an educator as a profession.
Yeah, and it was crazy because when I didn't start on YouTube. I started originally on IG, and so many of the people that I ran into on there I found out that were educators, like whether it's high school, middle school, elementary, special ed, it didn't matter. Like there was a lot of people that are in the field of education. So it was really interesting making that connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I found the same thing as I started to meet more people on YouTube and on IG. You just realize more and more people that you've been watching their content, and then you find out, oh, they're a teacher too.
Yep.
And it's really surprising, and it's something honestly I've encountered before, even at meeting random people at comic convention who start talking, and you can just teachers have a certain way they talk about things, or that you can tell.
Yeah, I agree.
They have points of views or what have you, and I've met people in comic conventions, spoken to them, and then it turns out, oh, I'm a teacher too, or even dealers. Many a dealer I've known was a teacher, during the school year and did the convention circuit in the summer.
And that's crazy to even think about, that they can find the time to balance all that. You know what I mean?
And I'd really like to see myself, again, I'll give you credit at your recommendation. I started doing the midnight markets with Metaphorical, and it worked out pretty well. And I'll tell you, I can see myself trying to do summer conventions, once they start happening again.
Yeah. I could definitely see you having a booth and selling some books too. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I've done shows in the past. I haven't done them any time.
Well, you had a shop. You had a shop at one point, so I'm not surprised.
I did. For a few years, but I really like doing shows. Shows are a lot of fun because you never know what you're gonna find and who you're gonna meet and all that kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But so I want to kind of try and get back to. So this idea of the Teachers Lounge is really just. I mean, it's just really a starting point. Can't speak for you, but Mind Shift, but I'm totally okay with anybody who's interested in sharing some ideas with us. If you ever want to be on, just shoot me, just contact one of us, and then we're pretty open-minded. It's not like we're not saying you have to be a teacher, but I know there's plenty of educators out there, and that are in the community that we're both already we already communicate with on a regular basis. So, by all means, let us know if anybody's interested in swinging by and saying hello.
We have a round table of conversation. But it's crazy.
Jeff. I think Jeff kind of makes a good point here. He says maybe the correlation is an early interest in reading at a younger age.
Well, yeah, I mean, my parents always promoted reading. Like, my mom ran a daycare, so she was technically my first teacher before I got into school. So she always pushed reading onto us. Whether it was comics or. I didn't collect comic books like a lot of you guys at a young age, but I had a comic book here and there. But I definitely read a lot of books growing up. You know, when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We've talked about this before. I think it's interesting that you didn't collect books as a kid because it's a different path of the
Yeah,
journey. But still, like when you tell me, you read a lot. I know you said you read a lot of manga when you were younger, and it's. I think you developed that love of reading, and I really think
I
that
did.
that love of stories and information and adventure and just that sort of that sort of that magic. I think that's what hooks a lot of them
Yeah,
because
which
we
is
have that vivid imagination.
yep. Yeah, and I always had like a wild imagination as a kid. So, but it's crazy because like my students, like I require them to read at least like 20 minutes a day, and they whine about that. And it's like, man, like when I was a kid growing up, my mom made like this is after homework. After homework, I had to read for an hour, and that was like every day. She made us read for an hour, and after we did our homework, and then we could like watch some TV or play some video games. But it was usually like go outside and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely. I was the kid who would read on his own because I love reading my comic books, and I'd get yelled at. Go play outside. Come on, do something.
yep.
Do something besides just reading all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jeff Schultz says, I think we should give grades to either new or old comics, movies, books, etc. Yeah, that's
That
a
would
good
be
idea.
cool. That would be cool.
We have a segment of the show dedicated to, the report. We could call it the report card.
Yes. That is awesome. Yeah, that would be cool.
So we'll work on that for episode 2 next week, maybe. Let's see. Jeff says I was also thinking of giving weekly quizzes on Comic Dome. Yeah, we could. That's sound all good ideas, man. Jeff, you're an idea machine. I love it. Definitely, William. It builds the imagination.
I agree.
Absolutely. It's like mental exercise. The more you read, the more stimulus you're exposed to, the more growth you'll have, the more the richer, the wider breadth of ideas you're gonna have.
Yeah, no, because I know you do art as well, and that I know that.
Yeah, I love
that helped me a lot too, because my mom was an artist as well, so she, it was always a connection of what we were reading and with our art. I know I would spend hours drawing Ninja Turtles and Batman and
every child is an artist. Some stay with it longer. Jeff Schultz was my mom. Jedi mind tricked me into reading comics. Maybe I'll share my story next week. That would be awesome. What's up, comic book poser?
What's up?
How you doing?
What's up, Kavi? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, Kavi? Comic Book Student NYC. Super cool guy. Great to see you. Thanks for coming into the chat and supporting us. So yeah, I mean, reading was just something I did as a kid, and it came naturally. I mean, I can remember. I think I was in kindergarten. My first book was Curious George, one or another of them. And the typical kid stuff.
Yeah.
But the bug hit me hard in 3rd grade. That's when I really dove into reading comic books and never looked back. 8 years old, 3rd grade.
I wish I had that opportunity to read comics. I remember like my mom, because my mom was very protective, so there was just certain things that we weren't allowed to get into, or even though we watched a lot of horror movies. Like she's a big horror fanatic, so we would watch a lot of horror. But she still, even then, she still monitored like certain scenes, But yeah.
That was a cool thing. My dad exposed me to a lot of classic movies and a lot of movies that were probably above my head, but what's up, bro? But honestly, I appreciate that. I was given that stimulus at a young age. Let's see what's happening in the chat here. William Smallwood says they need to make comics cheaper for kids. I agree with that. I don't see a lot of kids in the LCS.
Yeah,
man.
I agree.
It's expensive for for a grown, for myself with a job, with a career, to afford comics. I can't afford everything I'm going to read if I was just straight up buying them. I mean, or everything I want to collect. I mean, that's why I'm on Meta's auction 3 nights a week, trading and selling.
Well, I know trade back is probably going to be the best route. I know Scholastics, because a lot of my students, they order Scholastic books.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of
stuff is getting published through Scholastic.
I agree.
A lot of marketing stuff, I think, and they're just packaging them in different formats. So I don't know, honestly. I don't know if the periodical is the format for the future for kids, because I don't know that it's going to be effective. I think they're better off. They're going to be more successful getting a trade that's like a complete story, 4, 5, 6 issues, whatever it is.
We have in my classroom we have a wore out like Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl trade, because like my students read it like constantly. They love it, and it's just like if we had more access to books for comic books for them like that and trade back, they would love it. Even when I would get like new books, I would bring them to my class, separate the ones that they can't read and let them go through the ones that are appropriate for them to read, so they can get exposed to it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a lot of it too, is a lot of kids they're not the comic books. It's kind of this is opening up a whole other can of worms. The direct market, is it successful or is it not successful? Or was it successful for a while and then did it kind of feed on itself? I don't know. These are we can talk about. But I know when I was a kid, I could go to a candy store. There were at least 2 or 3 newsstands I had access to where I could get comic books. Plus, right around it just worked out perfectly. A comic store opened up that I could ride my bike to as a kid, right when I started getting interested.
Yeah.
Let me run back through the chat here. Say hello to
What's up?
Mint. Thanks for coming in.
What's up, K Titus?
Did I hear horror? Horror is awesome. Let's see. My grandpa gave me comic books NYC says my grandpa gave me a Tintin graphic novel when I was a kid. Tintin's awesome.
I never got a chance to read it. I heard good things though.
Okay, Titus, hello from Japan. Yes, I remember you said that you teach in Japan. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Another fellow teacher who speaks a crap load of other languages.
Those were your first comic reads. Wow, that's a pretty good first read, I think. I definitely think that's a pretty good first read, Kavi. Okay, konnichiwa. Okay, what's up? It's an adult hobby now. Yeah, it is, but there should be some accessibility for kids. And if you look, like the Marvel stuff that IDW publishes is definitely geared for a younger audience. I don't know if it's finding that younger audience, honestly. I mean, I can tell you that I know there's at least one store here in Vegas. When I walk into it, they have spinner racks. And one of the first things you see is like that type of stuff that's geared for kids.
Yeah, I know my LCS.
I'm glad to see that,
Before my LCS was closed for COVID, they have like a whole section for children, because the owner, he has like 2 daughters that are like in elementary, so like he promotes reading to them as well. So and he tries to do like book clubs, not just for the adults, but for kids as well. So that shop right there is at least trying to promote, to younger readers as well. I just think it really depends on the shops. I think it depends on like parents as well, if they feel like that's a medium that they want to expose their kids to.
I mean, I think you could probably take that out even wider to reading in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If kids don't see their parents reading, are they going to really? They might, but if a kid sees both their parents reading and engage in reading regularly, I think that creates a much higher chance of a child wanting to read and picking up reading.
Yeah. I work in a large Latin community, so I know it's harder for parents because a lot of the parents don't speak English, and it's a lot tougher for them. So that's why it's important for us to lead by example. I'm also when we have the 20 minutes of reading in my classroom, I sit and read with the kids as well. I open up a comic book or open up a book that I've been reading, and I'll read with them. To show it's okay to read.
Absolutely, you model it, and that's exactly honestly. When I taught in Florida for over 10 years, and I was serving a similar student population. But we had a similar program where there was a point in the day where everybody was reading, and and I would sit and read my book too, and because I want the kids to see that reading is something that at any age you do, and at any age it's great to get into.
I love that.
Yeah. Jeff Schultz. Let's see. Jeff Schultz says, so a kid watches Spider-Verse, walks into his or her local comic book shop, LCS, and asks for the first appearance of Miles. Enough said. The comic book industry needs to address this. Don't know how. Okay. I got a few things to say about that, Jeff. I don't wholeheartedly disagree with you because I think this is a problem, honestly, that has existed between comics and their movie counterparts for years. I think for years there's one thing that's on the screen, and it's not like you can necessarily find that in the comic book store. I mean, I remember when I was a kid where the Batman that I saw, whether it was a cartoon or a TV show, even if it was goofy, the basic premise of Batman is consistent. So you know what the situation is. You don't need to have gobs of continuity, but you know who Batman is. You know his situation. You know the basics. You can go with the story. His costume is fairly consistent. Nowadays, or even in years past, you can have one version of a character on the screen in a movie that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars, and you can't find that same character in the comics. Sometimes it's a completely different person as that character. It's portrayed by one person, on a screen, and somebody else in the comic. So, I also think, though, Jeff, that if a kid watches Spider-Verse and digs Miles and Spider-Gwen and Peter Parker, they're not necessarily going to walk in and ask for that first appearance. That's a collector. A kid is just going to be excited by the character, I think. And if you hand that kid a Marvel action with Peter Parker, Miles, and Spider-Gwen on the cover, I think they would get excited. It's a matter of knowing what's out there and putting it in the hands of the kid, I think, at the right time. It's a tricky thing because you never know when that lightning will strike. You just don't. I mean, it happened to be that I was a kid watching my cartoons after school, eating my cookies and milk, and I saw a G.I. Joe commercial, and it was two ninjas fighting. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I knew in my head, I remember there was that guy that had comic books at the flea market. And that was really my first comic book dealer for a week until the store opened up right in my town.
What's up, Archimist? How you doing, brother?
What's going on in the chat? I fell a little bit behind the hat. Kid Titus says, have your students get the group to speed read and have them act out what they read. Sounds like a good idea, good strategy. Definitely. Then have other groups guess from, okay, and kind of make it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I might have to use that next year.
That's the part where it really clicks, I think.
Yeah.
What's up, Art Chemist? How you doing? Thank you so much for coming and supporting us. Yes, comics on the mind. Yo, what is up? Glad you're all coming out and staying good company. It's awesome. I'm so it's nice to do something besides the auction to just hang out and talk. I love the auction; they're a lot of fun, but it's nice to just sit and talk and connect. And honestly, I would love for this to be a platform to connect with um, other YouTubers and other people, and maybe share, even if they're not a teacher, but what because everybody has their own set of experiences with collecting and reading.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear a lot of different, just a lot of different people's experiences with reading and how they came into the hobby and what was it that clicked for them. Do they read books? I wonder. Are there a lot of collectors who don't really read the books?
Which is crazy because I what's up, Gray Man? How you doing? I collect to read, like even like my Silver Age books, like I read those. Some of them are a little dated, but like I want to be able to read and experience like the stories, that I'm getting.
And I think yes, they're dated, but they're also, that's kind of the beauty and the it's, they're a little, they can be a little cheesy or whatever, but it's also, that's kind of their charm and their and their magic that they can take you to another time, another place.
It's another piece of history. You know what I mean? You get to see what it was like in those times.
Let's see. Jeff says every other Tuesday from 1 to 1:40 was there. Drop everything and read. Everyone in the building, teachers, students, principals, even the janitors. It was a powerful silence I'll never forget.
Wow, I just gave me goosebumps, dude. That's awesome. I love to hear about communities like that actually coming together. Everybody is like, one community. And I preach that to my students all the time. Like, we are one community. Even when we go outside, out, in the community out there, we're all one community together. So that's powerful, Jeff.
Yeah, and that's the school I work at now is pretty awesome, and I mean the kids are pretty awesome, and I'll see kids at lunch sitting while they're eating lunch with a book open. They're multitasking. They're reading the book and eating their lunch. And it's So there's definitely kids that have that love, and I keep I have a spinner rack in my classroom, and it's loaded with graphic novels and comics and stuff. So I definitely have it out there. I mean, I've had parents walk in and spin the rack and look at a book out of curiosity.
That's pretty cool.
And so it's also a conversation starter because you're letting them know, hey, this is something I'm interested in.
Yep. And I use it as a strategy because in my morning class, when I'm working with my small groups, I'll have like a comic book, just like how I have right here. I'll have a comic book out, and they'll see it, and they're like, "What's that, Mr. Kirk?" And I'll explain to you what this story is about once we get through our lesson, And it's like a motivation for them to get through the lesson and focus on the lesson, so I can break down the book that I have. And I would bring a different book every day, and they would always be interested. And it's really awesome seeing them light up. When you break down the story, show them some of the pages, especially when you find out what some of the characters that they're into, because they still have even though they may not be reading some of the stories, there's still a lot of cartoons out there that show some of these heroes. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you what, I can attest to that because before I ever read a comic book, I watched Super Friends. and I watched the Spider-Man show, and I watched all the
Yeah, I
old
agree.
Marvel cartoons with Thor and Captain America and Submariner. So I knew all those characters first and foremost from the cartoons. And I'll even say I watched the old '60s Adam West, Burt Ward Batman show. As a
The
little
dancing out of West.
it plays differently to a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And you don't have the kind of the jaded view or the cynical view, maybe is the better word choice there. You're not cynical at 4 years old. It's Batman to you, and it's not silly. It's just what Batman has to do to beat the bad guys. And that's there's a certain, I think, charm in that kind of episodic storytelling where there's a crisis every story, but ultimately the status quo is going to be the same at the beginning as it is at the end. And after a certain point, yes, I can see how that might become kind of putting, limiting storytelling. But I also think it takes a lot of discipline to tell those kind of stories and keep them entertaining and keep them interesting without becoming like repetitive or derivative of even itself.
It was the same. It was the same way with me because I was born in the '80s, raised in the '90s, and I grew up watching like the X-Men animated series, Amazing Spider-Man animated series, Batman, Adventures of Batman. Like I love those shows, and it always kept me engaged. And I would run home to not miss an episode.
Sure. For me, I'm probably like a generation older than you. Because my afternoon cartoons were, I love Batman, the Batman animated show, and I love that run of the Amazing Spider-Man, the X-Men. But I was older already, and I was like high school or older. But for me, it was G.I. Joe and Transformers and He-Man and Masters of the Universe. Those were the cartoons I was running home to watch.
And they definitely played reruns. Like I watched a lot of G.I. Joe. They played a lot of reruns.
Well, they were making figures for a long time.
Yeah.
People. And really, basically, the comic book was literally. It was a genius move. It was basically a new toy catalog every month that you were paying for. You get new characters almost every other issue because they'd be making new action figures and they'd want to, set the stage for them. I can remember I was so excited. I had I think $20 when the second series came out in the '80s of the little 3 3/4 Joes, and I could afford all of them except one, and the one I didn't get was Doc. He was the medical agent, and I didn't get him only because he doesn't even come with a gun. How can he be even if he's a doctor? What he doesn't have, he can't protect himself. It just didn't make sense to me. So he was the one I didn't get.
Oh, you didn't get a chance to finish your collection?
Okay, I have plenty of Jet Joes. You can't have everything.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something out there. And if it means that much to you, you can probably find it in a toy store somewhere. A toy store that carries all the toys.
For me, it was like the Ninja Turtle craze. I had like a crap load of like Ninja Turtle toys. Cause I used to watch the cartoon all the time as a kid as well, And so like my mom would buy, it was either Batman toys, Ninja Turtle toys, or Power Ranger toys. And we would go out, and that's when she would like send us outside, and we would like use our imagination and play out there, and create our own stories. You know.
It's funny you say Ninja Turtles because I love the Ninja Turtles comic when it first came out, when it was black and white and magazine size. That's when I first read it, and when I first saw the cartoon version of the Turtles, it just felt like they kidified my like.
Oh, definitely. They made it for kids because I was talking to somebody the other day about that, you know, because I've never read like the original Ninja Turtles run, but I know it's like super dark, you know. They have
it is like
you got exit wounds, and the characters are different. Like Splinter's like super small compared to how they made him in the cartoon, you know.
Like
April O'Neil is black.
Say,
which
like, yeah, I guess it depends how they drew her. It was black and white, so it's hard to like.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't even remember attaching like that to her because I just don't. I don't. You know. And honestly, you know, she could have be any race. It doesn't matter. She, you know, as a character to me. It was pretty hardcore. Like I remember it was like the second issue or so, and the Ninja Turtles are basically like beating the crap out of the Shredder to the point where he's falling off the roof of a building. You know, and they presume he's falling to his death. I mean,
but he lived.
Raphael was a hothead, much in the vein of a Wolverine type character, or what Wolverine was back in the '80s.
And someone was telling me that like Michelangelo was a lot more serious and
they weren't goofy at all. Like all the king and the cowabunga and the turtle power and all that stuff. See, what really bugged me is this is what really bugged me as a kid. I mean, I was probably in middle school, probably just a little bit older than past all that goofy stuff in the cartoon. It annoyed me that they changed the mask different colors. I was like, you know who the Ninja Turtle is by the weapon they use.
Yeah, not by the bandana that they had.
And they kept that, but they had to give them each their own color mask. I mean, I get it now. You know, once I got a little older, like, okay, it makes sense. For little kids, it's probably going to be tough to remember who uses nunchucks versus who uses knives versus who uses, you know, a katana or zaki versus bow staff. So, okay, fine. Give them color-coded masks and put their initials on the belt. Look who's here.
I sent them the link.
Oh, nice.
What's up, John?
My friend, we know you're in the same field as us.
Welcome to the Teachers Lounge.
Yeah, well, if anything, glad you're lounging in bed. That's awesome. You didn't miss the Teachers Lounge. We're still going to be on for like 20 minutes or so, and we're glad even if you just stop by for a few moments. Great to see you, John. And John, I owe you an apology. I did not forget about your drawing, or for, you know what's coming. I'm working on it. I got you. Don't worry. I know you're not worried, but I just wanted to let you know.
I gotta get back to sketching.
Yeah,
I'm working on a piece right now that I'm trying to post soon. But I just been so tired from work because I do Uber Eats on my bike, you know, for the summertime. So it's like and it was just crazy because I'll be biking for like hours and I'll get home and like you think my legs would be sore, but my shoulders, all this is sore. Because you're like, I have a road bike, so I'm like constantly like this the whole time, you know, while I'm making deliveries.
Yeah. I know it's funny that no problem, John. I appreciate it. Oh man, thank you. I don't know how YouTube's funny. I guess it does it sometimes.
They do it all the time, dude. It's either you get unsubbed or you get the bell unclicked. You know what I mean? Because there's been certain times where I've been subbed to somebody, but I never get like notification for them because I don't have that bell hit, and I always hit the bell. I make sure I do.
Oh, I loved it, Jeff. Thank you so much, man. The stuff, and I love the stuff I'm seeing you do for everyone. I think it's so cool.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm like a couple under 300. I think I'm like 7 or 8 under 300, somewhere like that, like 292, 293. So I'm close to 300.
You'll pass me up soon. I'm at 3. I think the last time I checked was 315. So I think I'm gonna do a 400 sub contest soon, just to kind of promote it. Because I wasn't supposed to do something for when I hit 300, but it went over my head.
Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes it's weird because I've been like at 290 for a while, and it's for like, I don't know, a week or so, and it just feels like it's like stalling. Then all of a sudden it'll jump up like, you know, 3, 4, 5 subs, and I imagine it's like a snowball. The more you do, the more you can create, the more people.
Yeah, of course. I'm definitely working on an edited show that I've been wanting to put out for a long time, and I just need to get. I'm trying to build some props and write out. I have a couple of scripts written out. I just need to actually like film it and get it done. But yeah, I can't wait because it's going to be entertaining. John kind of inspired this too as well. I don't know if you've ever seen some of his his reviews that he would dress up in his different costumes. Those are hilarious. I love. Bring those back, John.
Oh, thanks so much, John. I totally
thank you.
Being on the show with you and Alec a while back was awesome, and I just did a show with JP this week on Tuesday. We reviewed Wicked and Divine, which was a really good read, and it's. I love just the aspect of the community, and I hope this is just another platform for other people, other members of the community to come and connect. We said it at the beginning. If anybody wants to come on with us and has something they want to talk about, Mynd Shift and I are both very open-minded and definitely would love to collaborate.
Definitely.
There's no hard and fast rules about this. It's all pretty free form and, pretty unstructured, other than we're calling it the Teacher's Lounge because we're both teachers, and probably almost everybody watching us is a teacher or education in some way. Because I don't know specifically what everybody, I kind of do actually, but I don't know exactly. And it's okay to lurk, Comic Book Poser. Comic Book Poser says, I've just been lurking here. I love listening to y'all talk about anything as I pack some books and clear out some clothes. The benefits of the cloths. Yeah, it's great.
Well, he hit it on the nail, though, because I agree with you, Comic Book Poser. Like, one thing that's so beautiful about this community is, like, I'm constantly getting educated about not just comic books, but whatever people have interest in, you know what I mean?
Sure. That's exactly why I do my paperback afternoon show. It's just, I love comics, but I also love, books like this. Like, I can't wait to read this. Elmore Leonard, Laura Redondo. It's a Western. We don't get many Westerns, in today's day and age. And I like Elmore Leonard as a writer, so I'm willing to give it a try. I'll always, like I said, I picked that with the gift card I had. I picked up those two, that book and this book. This is a gimme from me.
And Monsters is still going too, right?
What's that?
Monsters is still going too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I read issue Alienated by Boom Studios. I wanted to read Alienated. Someone was hyping that up. I definitely need to get that. I just started reading Join the Future.
I might
Join
have
the Future Talk
Yeah,
about Western. This is
I
really
have
good, dude.
to read it. I've been picking those up. I have the first 3. I think I have the first
Same
2
here.
issues of Alienated. I might have issues 1 and 2. I might have an extra copy for you too. I'll check.
Oh, thank you. I still need to open up my my AOK too.
You want to open that up and share it? Did you?
Yes, it's right. It's right over there. It's work. It's just been work crazy the last couple of days, so I haven't had time to open it.
Okay, no worries.
Did you pick up anything this week?
Grayman makes it clear. He's not a teacher. Okay, sorry, Grayman.
You teach me, Grayman. Don't worry. You teach me every day. I love Grayman's blogs. His blogs are awesome.
I picked up just some stuff on. Let me see. Where's my some stuff this Wednesday. Definitely. Oh man, actually, this was like my biggest week.
Same here. Well, we had Marvel and DC come back, and then so many great indies came out. Like I got Finger Guns.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted that one, and I've loved all the covers from them. And I
grabbed it just because it was the more colorful one.
But I really like them. I like purple. Purple's my favorite color. So
yeah, it was a tough choice. I was like torn. I got Join the Future 3 this week. I haven't had a chance. I got Adventure Man 2.
How is that? I was kind of I didn't jump on the
really. I really liked Dotson's art. I like his clean lines. So I grabbed this Blade Runner cover for Deceased Dead Planet just because I thought it looked cool with Hell's.
Is that Constantine?
Yeah, with Constantine.
Yeah.
As like,
have you been reading the Constantines? The new one that's
new one.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I've never read any of the old stuff, the old Constantine. Oh yeah, I got Stranger Academy too.
This is just the freebie Marvel. I got Batman 94. It was a weird week. Batman and Detective came out, so I grabbed the B cover. Oh wait, that's Detective. That's the B cover.
How is Detective going on right now? Does it connect into the Joker Wars or to in the story?
Yeah, I read this issue today, and it's like it's kind of like a prelude.
Okay. Because I was thinking about jumping on Detective. I've been reading the old DC Rebirth Detective.
Yeah, and then here's the A cover for Detective. I liked it. Nice. It's Journey to Joker War, so it's like. Then I picked up. I haven't read this book yet, but I've heard so much good stuff about AWA.
Yeah.
This is
AWA is coming up. Dude. I want to get year 1, and I've been reading Resistance, and Resistance has been really great. Resistance kind of scared me because I was like, it's dealing with a pandemic. And just how it's very accurate how humanity would tackle it. Oh yes, I love the fact I love Scott. I'm a huge Scott Young fan, but I love when he writes. Like he writes really well. It's always good seeing him on stuff that's not just his art. A variant cover.
Yeah.
Yes, it's straight. I said the same thing, Jeff. It's straight. Doctor Strange meets Harry Potter. I love it. And I love how they have Dr. Voodoo in there as well.
Let's see. I'm already thinking they're a bad idea, John. So you saw the video though. Thanks. Okay, John says you're talking about Rob Boswell, Jeff. I like the stuff from AWA Upshot. Yeah, I haven't really talked to anyone who doesn't like the stuff coming from AWA. People have their favorites. They might not like all of them, but definitely I hear a lot of positive things. I might, Jeff. I'll check.
What's up, Magic Lasso?
I very well might. I think I have some finger guns in the boxes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, Jeff is really good. Some people were kind of like they weren't fans of the first issue, but the first issue is what got me hooked. You know what I mean? And I can't wait until you read it.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Archangel. I gotta read that. I might pick that up. I don't know if they'll come out with a trade, but I definitely probably gonna pick that up because I'm trying to find books to cut back, which is so hard, you know, because there's so many great books that are coming out, and
I love reading trades. Once you start reading trades, it's so nice because you can just sit there for an hour or so and just read a 6-issue run. Definitely. Jeff Schultz, he loves Strange Academy, great movie or Disney Plus series potential. Doctor Strange meets Harry Potter. Yeah, I'm pretty
awesome.
Thanks, Henry. I don't know. There was like 4 Batman covers this week. Crazy.
I think it might have been the detective one. That detective one was good. This cover was okay, but that detective one that you showed earlier was clean, dude. The one where he's fighting Joker, right?
Let me pull it out. Well, there's this one with Joker and Punchline.
Oh, Punchline? Yeah.
And then there's this one that's just Batman.
That's a great one.
Fighting, just very texture, a lot of texture in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Jeff. As soon as the first Strange Academy came out, I usually wait to read my books, but as soon as I got out of the store, I started reading it.
Hey, Magic Glasso, sorry I'm late. Please don't make me stay after class. There's no tardies. You got here perfect timing. Glad you did it.
Detention.
No, John. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. That's good to see connections happening.
Yeah.
That Strange Academy, I think, is going to be one of those that creeps up on everybody because I think people are it's like too obvious right now. But I think, sooner or later, people are going to be like, "Oh, wait a second, what's going on in this book?" Hello, I've learned 100 times. I must not be late. This isn't The Simpsons.
I love The Simpsons. I've been watching that the last couple weeks. That's such a great show.
Look, if I have to make you go up and put a check on your own name, we got issues, and I don't mean the good ones. Need more fiber. Yes, everybody needs more fiber. Any good reads you recommend? I would definitely recommend. I just read the first trade for Wicked and Divine, and if you go to JP Collects channel, you can see we did a review show on Tuesday. The last episode of his show, the Indie Show, and it was a great read. And then I'm also reading right now, Henry, Monstrous. I just picked up the first trade, and then I always have 2, 3, 7 trades that I've got lined up to read. It's just a matter of finding time. A couple more books I picked up this week that I didn't show yet. I got this issue of Wonder Woman. I just love this cover. I got a thing for the princess. I don't know, and probably from watching.
I'm trying to find some Wonder Woman.
And then I
watched that movie the other day. It was great.
Which movie?
The Wonder Woman movie. It was really good.
Oh yeah, I was saying I watched the old Wonder Woman show with Linda Carter as a kid. That's probably why I have.
Oh yeah, where she makes
And then I picked up this one from American Mythology Productions, The Monster Men #1. it just got my attention. I don't know, the cover. It was cool, just looked cool. Sometimes that's, just a cool cover is all it takes. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, that's how a buddy of mine would choose music. He said that the album cover looks really awesome. So I'm gonna listen to this.
Let's see. Why Grayman says, why are so many doctor superheroes and villains, but not so many teachers? Black Lightning is one. Are there any more faculty you can think of?
That's a good question.
I mean, isn't Professor X kind of a teacher?
He's more of a manipulator.
But isn't a teacher kind of a manipulator? Aren't you manipulating your kids to learn?
That's a good point.
I think all the X-Men are.
I'm gonna have Yeah, they are. They are.
So
they're teachers, right? Yeah.
That's my easy answer.
Dr. Octavius he was a professor. You're right.
Yeah, he was well, I think there's a
point, Jeff.
I mean, Peter Parker was even when he was like in college, he was like a teacher's assistant, I think. So at one point, he becomes a teacher. At one point in Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. See, Peter Parker becomes a professor at some point.
But that would be a cool show talking about some of the teachers in like comic book storylines. That would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, and then Lasso says the new Wonder Woman issue right now. He has to get any of their new DCs this week. Are they getting DC books next week? Yeah, I don't know, man. The distribution game is a little funky these days.
Because they're not using Diamond anymore, right?
No, they're using the Lunar for West Coast and Midtown for the East Coast. Which again, that's opening up a can of worms and a whole other conversation.
West Coast versus East Coast.
Not even
West Coast and East Coast all over again.
No. Yeah, that's funny, but that's not what I meant. I meant more distribution. I mean, I think there's a lot of positives that can come out of it, but there's some challenges. But hey, that's growth.
Yeah, of course.
One of the best DC movies is Wonder Woman. Looking forward to 1984. Yes, I would agree with you.
I am too.
I think it is definitely one of the probably the brightest shining star of their movie attempts and their movie. Although
I did. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
No, I was just saying. Although I really liked the Shazam movie. That was a really great movie.
I thought it was awesome, and I'll tell you what, I think I was probably as close to giddy as I've gotten in a superhero movie when all the kids started. Just as silly as it is.
Same here.
Like, especially when little Darla became all super, and she was still. I think that was her name. I hope
a child. Yeah.
She was
the actress that played her.
Yeah, she just killed it. She just aced it. It was.
She did.
And I love the way they even did the scene with Superman at the end, where it's is it him? But the way the lunchroom scene. I don't know if that was that an after credit scene or something, where Shazam meets him at lunchtime in the cafeteria, and then he's like, I got my friend here, and you just see the blue suit come in.
Hey, Superman! I love Gray Man's comment right here. Someone needs to make a school of crime with teachers of different departments and being supervillains. Taskmaster would be.
Yeah.
Well, they have an app. They have an app for supervillains.
Well, no, and you know what book is a lot. They did a show of it on Sci-Fi, Deadly Class. It's about a school for villains. A school.
Oh, I heard about that.
I liked the show, and it didn't get picked up for a second season. It was set in the 80s, and it was pretty cool. They did a pretty good job. I think it's worth watching even this season, But I actually have. It's funny. Talk about I always have 5 or 6 trades ready to go. I got Umbrella Academy 1, 2, and 3 right here. That's 2.
Oh, nice.
That's 1. And that's 3. And then I have Deadly Class 1, 2, and 3. So I really like the Deadly Class show. I haven't read the book yet, but obviously I got the trades ready to go.
Yeah, I haven't read this. I haven't read the comics either, so that'll be an interesting read, definitely.
Let's see. Jeff says he can make a PowerPoint in 10 minutes, settle a class down with just a look, read 20 essays, and grade them in a single night. Oh, look over there, taking out a loan. It's oh, that's hilarious. That is
super
hilarious.
That's funny.
Yeah, Deadly Class. Henry Rollins is in it, and also the guy who plays Doctor Strange is like the guy who lives in the Sanctum is Doctor Strange, the big dude. Does the
Yeah.
I just can't think of his name. Darn it. He's like he's in the he's like the librarian guy who Doctor Strange gives the Beyonce music to.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name either right now.
it's stupid because I know his name. It's just brain fart.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Come on, Chad. Who's the guy that hangs out with Doctor Strange? I want to say Odo, but that's Star Trek. Wong, that's it. Wong.
Oh, yeah.
Wong.
Wong. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
He like runs the school. He's like the head of the school. And the one guy who played the detective on Dexter, like he played the Cuban detective. He has a role in the show. It's a crazy show though, because it's like it's about this kid basically who blames Ronald Reagan for his parents getting killed because he talks about how he signed this bill or something that defunded mental institutions, and this statue that somebody was let out of a mental hospital, and somehow I forget exactly, but somehow either they jumped out of a building and landed on his parents and killed them. So then he became like he's for that reason. That's where he like his hatred was born from. So then he goes to this boys' home, and he's like his roommate is like a complete sociopath, and like basically he does something bad to the sociopath to escape from the boys' home, and then eventually the guy tracks him down, and he's now basically a serial killer, and it's a crazy. So it's like this whole class of like kids, like high school kids, who are like trained to go into different crime families or supervillain type. It's not like outlandish. It's more like crime family, and criminal organizations than it is like. But it gets very like it's very out there. I liked it. I enjoyed the show when it was on. It was on about the same time as the Umbrella Academy was on Netflix, and I remember watching.
Yeah, I saw them finish that.
Yeah, the show is what actually prompted me to pick up the trade paperbacks.
Nice.
So I just have to dedicate more time to reading. Because even this stack
you read a lot.
I do read a lot, but it's I don't know. I just have to focus on like because graphic novels are usually they're like I'll sit and read a whole graphic novel in one shot for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, if it's unless it's like something ginormous. If it's like a Cerebus phone book, probably not. But if it's like 4 or 5 issues, yeah, sure. But it's also like what I liked about like doing the Wicked and Divine show. I had just read that day, but yet it was like what the heck was I saying? I just lost my train of thought. I looked at Jeff's comment and I
Reading. You're talking about reading. Finding time to read.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah. It was cool because just talking about the book, discussing the book with a couple other people. It was cool to have certain things. I shared some stuff I thought, but it was also really cool to hear their thoughts about like this book I had just read and what else did I not like pick up on or did I not see? Jeff Schultz says I didn't know Deadly Class was a comic. Yeah, man, it's a pretty cool book. Here, I mean, I'm gonna go big for a second. Yeah, teachers still learning. Just started collecting again in February for sure, man. This is the first trade. It's kind of like the above and below thing you see there. They're kind of the art's it's cool. I like it. Yeah, the first volume is called Reagan's Youth. It's set in 1987. It's Rick Remender and Wes Craig. So pretty cool art. Oh man, I see a picture that made me think of what Barbarian showed. Yeah, some pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's go. There we go. Little technical difficulties, but yeah, Jeff. I mean, I love your point that you see learning every day. That's the truth. I mean, learning is a lifelong. It's a lifelong activity. It's not one thing I always definitely try to teach my students is learn, like especially as a science teacher, like learning is a process figuring stuff out. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's really like I don't understand why it's so hard. Sometimes kids have so much problems with like understanding the scientific method. I tell them you do that every day. You walk into a class for the first time, you are experimenting from the moment you walk in. You're figuring out. You're wondering how many times can I get away from going to the bathroom with this teacher? How much can I talk before the teacher, scolds me? How much can I eat in this class? Can I sleep in this class? Can I draw in my notebook? Do I have to do my homework? Does this teacher really check the work they assign? That I know all these things they we know these things they think, but they're all little.
Okay, I mean we don't. Yeah, I don't think we give kids enough credit. They're very intuitive, and it's crazy because I feel like I think 80% of our time is actually getting them to believe that they can do the work versus actually teaching the material. You know what I mean?
I literally think it's almost.
I have a lot of students.
I would say it's almost.
No, go ahead.
A bigger percentage mindset and your mental approach to things and seeing things as more of a challenge rather than an obstacle. Like a challenge that is something that's good because it challenges you to get yourself to a maybe a more efficient level of reading or a more efficient level of computation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a lot.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I have a lot of students that they have a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD, and they don't come from really good like homes. And a lot of them believe. Like, I have a student. He constantly said, "I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I can't do this. I'm dumb." You know, and it's like, I'm like, no. And this kid's like a great artist. Like, he is like, he can like create anything from just from in his head. And it's just like, I constantly tell him, like, somebody with this much creativity is not dumb. You know, you just have a harder time comprehending the material. It just takes more time. You know what I mean?
It's intelligence comes in many forms, and maybe his isn't in the traditional academic sense, but he can be, like you said, he can be incredibly intelligent visually. He may understand things.
Yeah.
He may have a better, like, just better vision for the natural world around him than a large percentage of his peers.
Yeah.
Let's just go to the chat. Let's catch up with the chat real quick. Jeff asked, "Is it close to the TV series?" I think it is pretty close, just like visually. I see all the same beats in the book that I remember from the show. So I'm going to guess that it is fairly close, but I can't tell you for sure because I haven't read it yet. But I plan to. John's comics with kids. Well said, Todd. Thanks, John. I mean, these are just my thoughts. And honestly, the next comment by Jeff, I never looked at scientific inquiry like that before. We're doing it all day. Yeah, we really are. We're testing. We're getting results, and we're looking at a result. Yep. Was I right or wrong? If I was right, okay, then I'm good. If I was wrong, well, what made me wrong? How can I be right? John says, I also think kids are having a harder and harder time.
I agree, John.
Yeah, being wrong even on a first try can be debilitating or usually upsetting for lots of kids. They can't see its value. Yeah, because I think that's a product of, honestly, of this idea that kids have to be perfect, and I think it's nonsense. And I think it's fine. Be messy.
Yeah.
Figure stuff out. Try things. It's not, and I tell the kids in science, it's like, guys, try stuff. It's not bad. When you figure out how to not do something, you've learned something. That's the goal. So
yeah,
it's
and that's what I'm trying to tell my students.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying. That's why I try to tell my students, like, mistakes is a form of learning. Like, it's a learning process. You have to fail in order to.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure
learn how to do it the right way. That's why I love when my students point out when I make a mistake.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have heard the acronym FAIL, first attempted learning.
Yeah.
And it's Jeff, Howard Gardner, 7 intelligences. And I honestly, I could almost argue that there's more than 7, but maybe you can group them. You can, maybe more than 7 is like subdividing, one umbrellas. I don't know, but yeah, his research makes a lot of sense, I think. Jeff says there's no losing, only learning. Damn, that was Yoda deep. Batman, why do we fall? Okay. Maybe so we can get up. But the other thing I love to use as a tool for the scientific method is I'll look at a kid when they really don't get it, and I'll be like, watch a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Seriously. Just sit down and watch almost any episode of Scooby-Doo from the last 50 years. What do? They're rolling around in the van in the mystery machine. They stumble upon something. They ask a question. Okay. Their question leads them to the inference that something isn't right. So they do more research. They investigate their inference. They find clues. They create an experiment, which is usually in the form of a trap. They test. They catch their subject. They reveal. They're either hypothesis was right or it was wrong. And it's always right because they always unmask. But it's the scientific method playing out in a more like a field study type of situation, not a laboratory situation. But it's conceptually to me, that's what I see. Like when that's how scientists solve things. The unknown is a mystery. We're solving mysteries. That's what Scooby-Doo in the Mystery Incorporated. They drive around in a van and try and solve mysteries. So. But we're at about. I think we said we were going to go for an hour. We're at about an hour and 15 minutes. So we got 9 people watching. That's fantastic. I mean, I'm over the moon. Honestly, I'm amazed that 3 people want to sit and listen to me, let alone 9. So I'm so excited. To that we have 9 people watching. Reggie, you got it, Jeff.
Right.
I remember when Batman and Robin teamed up with Scooby and the gang. But then I also remember when Phyllis Diller and yeah. Good night, gentlemen. Good night, Jeff. Class dismissed. Thank you. I think it was awesome too. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I mean, if anybody has any last comments or questions in the chat, please go ahead and share share them, and we'll try to get to them before we leave. But is there anything you'd like to? I remember when Scooby-Doo met the Globetrotters. They didn't fit in the bed. All their feet were hanging.
That was one of my favorites.
I remember that.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes.
I always like that too. I always like the Harlem Globetrotters. But anything you wanna talk about, or you got anything coming up, or anything you wanna give a pitch to, or
same old. You guys can always find me every Wednesday on Rob Wurst's channel, Not Near Mint, the whole Not Near Mint crew with me. Rob, Lady Fantastic, Miracle Man. We're always talking about great conversations. This week coming up, we're going to be talking about superhero weapons. Some of our favorite superhero weapons. So if you guys are interested, come on by and chat it up with us. Every Wednesday at I believe it's 10 o'clock East Coast, 7 o'clock my time. 8 o'clock Mountain Time. So come check us out. We always have great conversation.
Awesome. Okay, homework for next show: read a comic book, do a report on it. I want a comic book report. Night closer. This says night, y'all.
Write this down.
I've been going through Antique Mall books all afternoon. Nice. And Magic House, there's a theory that Scooby doesn't even exist. He's just imagined by the gang who are eating Scooby sacks. Probably makes sense on some levels.
Wow, no way.
How do they really talk? How did they really talk to the dog? Let's be honest.
Some people have yeah.
But you can
That's
take face value, or you can take the theory, the fan theories. But thanks for joining.
It would be different if No, I was just gonna say it would be different if other characters besides the mystery gang wasn't talking with Scooby.
Yeah. There's plenty of evidence that unless you're saying they're all eating Scooby snacks.
Yeah. Scooby snacks for everyone.
But hey, Mind Shift, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and doing this first episode with me. Obviously, you're going to be back next week. You're my co-host, right?
Of course.
Awesome.
Of course.
Couldn't do it without you. It just wouldn't be the same. So I literally could not do this same thing without you.
Well, I appreciate you.
Definitely, and I appreciate
the opportunity.
Yeah, this is cool. This is a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who came by in the chat. If you haven't stubbed me up yet,
Thanks,
please. If you watch this on the rewind and you haven't stubbed me, please sub me. I'm very close to 300. I want to get there. I appreciate John's Comics with Kids.
Get there.
Yeah, I think that's awesome and fantastic. Thank you so much, John. And everybody else, thank you. Have a wonderful night, and thank you for coming in. And we'll see you next week for class at the same time, 9 p.m. Thursday, West Pacific Coast time. So I know it's late for the East Coast, but Kirk and I live on the West Coast, so they love me. Thank you, Gorilla Todd.
Peace out, everybody.